Hoo-wee. Do you know where that's from?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's my favorite character, I think, on that. One of I think. Because I feel like it's
iconic.
yeah, I feel like it's his story. I actually feel like that show is his story and everything's just kind of happening around it. But I haven't seen that show in a while. So we're back again for another episode of Product Like It's Friday. And today, I guess we'll talk a little bit about how we failed to meet Mary's standards of of completing. Sorry, I just need to collect myself. Of completing the app and how I failed. I was like,
okay.
talking about furious.
Let's get it out. How are you feeling?
No, I'm just kidding. You know, I like the idea of the theme of furiousness because I was like applying that to you as you were like designing furiously in the background, and I guess I was fiercely coding, and then there's some things. I guess one bug I missed, which was in one of the problems. You know, there were like a bunch of zeros. Find the next thing in this pattern. There were like 5 zeros, and you're like, okay. So I'm gonna find that bug and fix it. And I have collected a few sounds that I want to share with Mary. I am not sold on the sounds that I collected. Some of them I maybe, but I want to try something and see if it works. So that's sort of where we can start. Do you have any other thoughts, Mary?
No, I think I have some questions that I might pepper in here and there, but maybe once like the bulk of the work is past.
Cool. I will begin by sharing my screen. Oh, just give me a sec. I actually need to okay, yeah, that's I have to just rearrange certain windows on my screen prior to sharing. Sorry, go ahead.
I noticed that yesterday when you mentioned that you were gonna stay on for just a little bit more, you stayed on for quite a bit more.
You know, it seems so close, you know, like it seemed like we were getting so close. And so I was like, oh, let's see, you know, let's see where we can take it. But it was a productive day yesterday. And, you know, we like randomly added extra features as we went, which, you know, seemed like very natural. And so I definitely want to lean into certain things that feel natural. Okay. So I guess we'll start with the sounds, actually. And I might have to reshare my screen. So I didn't label these, so we'll all be in for a surprise. All right, I'm sharing as a tab now, and we should be able to hear the sounds. So this one is, I don't know. Well, let's see. Yeah. So this one is rain and thunder. So is the other one. I selected a few samples. And like where the clips were too long, I also maybe cut them a little bit short. And what my thought here is that we actually have it continually play here. Like on this, it just plays in a loop, but very lightly. So at a low volume. So it plays in a loop in a low volume. We still have a punch sound of like you got it wrong. And sorry, I know I'm showing one tab and I switched my screens, but okay, fine. So we have it on the error screen or the incorrect screen, but I like using maybe your shorter sound. Or okay, maybe maybe that won't fit in. Let's see, or maybe it will. Let's see. I want to try. So I want to try like starting with that and just having rain sound right after, just kind of buzz in the background. Okay. Here's the other rain clip, I think. Yeah. Rain and thunder. Just in a loop until they move on to the next screen. So that's one thought. Here, let's see. So you had gathered a sound earlier, which was timer and chime. So I just split that last because I did like that ending chime. I searched for other chimes and they didn't seem chimey enough. So this sounded good. And I also didn't mind this sound, which we can also play in a low thing, maybe throughout the whole thing and see how it feels. I do want to feel out the sounds because I feel like the idea of sound consistency seems more challenging than I had thought before.
I feel like it's hard to like imagine it in isolation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then having like a theme, like some kind of like something that's cohesive, where it makes sense why people who obviously invest so much into like having like a cohesive sound design presence in whatever application, movies or what have you, right? Okay, so next sound. Okay, this is too much.
Whoa.
Okay, listen, okay.
What's happening here?
Sorry, maybe not that one. I just picked up a few saxophone sounds instead of trumpet sounds because trumpet sounds were very like
abrasive,
different. Yeah, like aggressive, and
yeah.
I was like, let's pick up some sax jazz that plays lightly in the background. So maybe not the first one. But I want to play it after some. Oh yeah, this one, the shorter one. So I want to focus on the shorter success and incorrect sounds and see where we can net out. Okay, and I think this last was also just I have a bunch of because I was like none of these are gonna work. Yeah, it's like, I didn't like it. I just wanted to throw them out there as a starting point. But maybe of these, I don't know. Maybe none of them. Any thoughts?
I mean, they sound good. They sound good. I'm not sure if they fit the theme.
The theme. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's really hard to find a sound that fits the theme and everything. So, at least what I want to test is the idea that it's continually playing versus a sound that kind of hits you. And
I do like that idea, at least conceptually.
Okay. Yeah. And that way, also, interestingly enough, I don't know how it will feel. So let me go back to sharing my entire screen. Okay. And I don't know how that will fit into this idea here where, so here we get started. And so there'll be a continuous sound here with a chime. And then a pause, so some no sound, right? Where we reveal the answer. And then continuous sound again, potentially. So let's see what that will look like. So, okay, I'm going to jump into the code and we'll get started. So let me I will hear these sounds now. Okay, that's rain. I'll first implement the chime and the timer. So there's the timer.mp3, and here's the chime.mp3. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me just recollect my brain. Okay. Question ID. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you whether you had time to watch the ending of the last stream.
I did.
Okay, you did. So you're familiar with
really cool.
This guy. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, all right. Let me go back.
I'm still like really amazed at the speed that you can just whip these.
It becomes easier with like Tailwind and like being in the rhythm of doing some of these things. Okay, so let me just think. Give me 1 second.
Sorry, just want to add one more thing. I just thought it's so cool that like we can do all of that in one sitting, in like one session, like the design and implementation. Like I know it's not.
Yeah, no, it is neat.
But but it's neat that happens in one session.
No, it feels great. I think that's an amazing way of working where you're like, because it's so focused, right? Versus like doing something that's end to end. If you're like, hey, it wasn't even one page, it's part of a page.
Yeah.
And it's fair, like in, like in those chunks, you can have very great kind of feedback loops. Harder to do for larger tasks, but if you have like a day, like where like maybe one day you pass the designs to a developer, and then the next day you kind of see some of those results, and then you're modifying and kind of having feedback sessions go. That's the coolest, I think. Okay, so let's get into the code and find some of our sounds. And so we have a tick sound, and I want to copy this now into the asset sounds from downloads. And I believe it's called timer.mp3. And then the other file I downloaded was chime.mp3. Okay. Restart our server and back in the code. And here, I'll just use timer for the tick sound, and then we'll say chime sound here, and that's chime. And I feel like here, at least immediately, okay. F MP3, and then MP3 here as well. And now I would have expected this to have worked, but I might need to, no, why would I need to restart? Sorry, I did the wrong thing. So this needs to be MP3. The thing is, because it's highlighted this way, I misinterpreted which line I was editing. Okay. So let me implement the timeout and the chime, and then what you can't hear is sorry, I need to mute this. So because of the way I implemented the previous timer was just 1 second, and right. and this one isn't. Let me see if I can share what I heard. So every second it's starting the whole clip. So it's like, it's ridiculous. Okay. Can we hear it? So every second it's starting more of that clip. And it's like, okay.
It's so chaotic.
So, yeah. Let's see how that feels in real terms. It's like, it's more, because every second is starting a clip. That's absurd. So there are some bugs here that emerged from the session yesterday. So let's fix this. I will spare us all by first, just showing my screen again. I feel like that was worth sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
That was ridiculous.
Back to, because that was my instant kind of like, I gotta mute this. Because I can't work in these I can't work in these conditions. Right? So that's the tick sound, and it's the play tick. Now, I was starting to play the tick every second, but really what should happen is, first thing, like it just starts playing when we press play, right? Just once. And let me see if I can't find a way to play it in a loop. So unfortunately, there's no loop thing here. I'm trying to look to see whether there's also some indication of like when a thing ends. And unfortunately, there isn't. Okay, so I have some thoughts. This is playing here. And so maybe I can get is playing, and I can say something like tick is playing. Okay. And then, so here we'll start playing when you press play. Every interval, if the value is greater than, we will check. Yeah, so if not playing, we'll play, which means now the next time we come around, it should hopefully not like, yeah, it shouldn't get more of them playing. It should just play that once. What else? I guess even theoretically I could do this because I don't need to. Yeah. And this will always ensure that if you're playing, it will get. And then we have stop interval, which stops the tick, right? And so it's very, and hopefully that will ensure a loop is happening here. And the clip itself is 10 seconds. And okay, so I'm just going to refresh this. So the sound, that's weird. Hold on. I'm not hearing anything here. Nothing here. Nothing, nothing, nothing. What am I doing wrong? And now it started playing here. I'm going to refresh again. And now it started playing here. I don't understand what's happening because, okay, so there might be some errors on the page that are causing this to happen. There's a hydration completed but error, and this seems very intense. The other errors I'm not too concerned about because they might be, oh no, hydration class mismatch on. I don't know if these things are related. Unfortunately, I have not been. The audio context was not allowed to start. It must be resumed or created after a user gesture on the page. Okay. Reading 101. So I think when I refresh, nothing. And moving, nothing. Click. Yeah. Okay. And I click just here. And now it's starting to play. I know you guys can't hear this, or just, you guy can't hear this. But what's happening is it's starting to play once I interact with the page with like a click or what have you. So that's fine, I think, because the interaction on this page isn't really a refresh clause. Like I'm doing that while I'm testing. It really is this where, I mark this as correct. I say next turn, 3, 2, 1. And now it's playing because the interaction had started on the page. So I'm actually okay with that. I don't need to solve it. And for my own purposes, if I refresh, I'll just click now that I have knowledge. And what I'm testing for now is whether the sound is playing over the 10 seconds. And it is. And now that we're just 10 seconds away, I'll just wait here and see if it properly stops at the time that it should. And away we go. I don't hate it at all. I feel that's fine. It's a little intense. But I feel like I feel like it'll ultimately become, hopefully, I'm hoping that it becomes like white noise or brown noise and that it kind of fades away. So I'm even going to try and set the volume pretty low here. Okay. Yeah, it's more subtle and a little less intense. And then let me get the chime in there, and then I can share the sounds. So, let's get that chime in there. And the chime, I'm just trying to see. Okay, yeah. So I need to do this const business here, where I play the chime. And I'm happy to actually make this like 0.8 or whatever, even 1. We'll see. And the chime is pretty quick, so I don't feel like we'll need a stop chime thing happening here. And all of this will happen in that play function, which is here. This is where, hold on. Let me just think. So I want to keep the play function on the screen as I look at this one. which is watch timer percent remaining. I feel like it actually should happen here. If value is greater than 50, 25, else wobble, which is the completion point. So let's see what that feels like. But the other thing I will do, turned.value.time allotted. This is where that timer countdown value is happening. So I'll just set that to 10,000, which should be 10 seconds. Just so we're not. And so this kind of odd thing is happening because it's not.
Is the sound being paused when you pause it?
Sorry, I can't even hear you right now. Did you hear what happened? Could you hear some like chaos? Okay, no, I couldn't even hear you because something really bad happened. So let me adjust. That is not where we need to be doing that. Just for reference, that was a disaster. Just
you have to describe it.
It. You hear that? No, I brought it close to my mic. I was hoping that it would pick up because it's burning my ears. The chime does happen, but when we get down here, I want to make sure it's not related to this change that I made. So let me do that and just see what this feels like. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a clean way of sharing sound and me switching back code-wise because I want to keep switching browsers in the code, but unfortunately, we don't have that. When I had the chime in there, something really bad was happening here. So let's see if that happens again. 8. Yeah. At that 8-second mark, it's like a disaster. So it's not related to this. So I can bring this back so we can have shorter time periods. And then I actually do need to do this because it's not like it's like a sound, which is like really loud. So so it doesn't belong here, probably because this is happening over and over. And I want to just play this once. So, because I thought this would just happen near the end. But that's fine. This happens, and then timer interval. I could do it here, right? Because this is 0. It's a set thing. I was trying to associate with the loop, wobble loop happening, and I was like, okay, these two things are tied together. But it doesn't quite work out. But let's see if this works out. Okay, yeah. This is fine. I'm ready to share. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do this, and then I'll go change the code so that it's a full 30 seconds. So experience both, but we'll do the 10 seconds first and then the 30 seconds because I think both of those experiences are important. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And then I wonder if there's a way to share 2 screens at the same time. But maybe not. Maybe in 2 different scenes. But I feel like I don't think I can just add, because if I go to a different scene, it will take the stream to that scene. So I wonder if, yeah, I guess they don't have a feature of like modifying the scenes behind the scenes. Okay, anyway. So now if I refresh, you should be able to hear.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I'm going to go back into the code here and change that so it is the full things. And then we should be able to let's just go through that 30 seconds or 35 seconds.
Would you say you are a patient person?
No. I'm more patient than you because you spoke up. And this is a competition. You couldn't wait the whole 30 seconds to say something, you know? Okay. I'm going to make that chime louder just so we can get that sense. And I'll go down to the 10 seconds so we can test. Maybe just a little bit less. We don't have to play this again, but I just made it just a little bit less so it's not as big of a punch related to, okay, we will play it, I guess. And then you can tell us whether you're a patient person.
No.
There is no media playing.
Okay, so, all right. I like this. I'm okay with the sounds. We'll see. And, you know, there might be some feedback and we can assess. But I'm happy with a few things here. So let me reshare my entire screen now so we can get back to the code. Okay. Sorry, just adjusting some things here. Okay. So, sorry. Ugh. Okay. And I'm happy with that. Let me see what changes we have in the code here. So I added the chime timer, and then we modified the timer sound. I think I left a comment out in there, so let me get rid of that. Let's bring this back. And then, yeah, I'm happy with this play tick business, and this kind of automatically loops for me. So, yeah, pretty thrilled with this. Adding new timer / chime sounds. Cool. Okay, next sound, I guess, can be, okay, what I'd want to do is try the same looping thing with the rain and then with the music. And I know the music is, you know, not, it's weird, I get it, but we'll see. So I guess let me get into that incorrect thing. And I'll keep the standard incorrect sound there and we'll see how it feels because I really want to get a sense of the feeling. Okay, so back to the play page. We have two rains. Let's start with this one. Do you remember what the two rains were, Mary?
I vaguely remember liking the first one.
Okay, we'll take the first one then. We'll go with.
But I don't remember why.
And thunder. Okay, rain and thunder, and we'll pull that in. And we'll send it into asset sounds and restart. I don't know that if I have to do that restart business, but it's fine. Okay. Let's see. I want it to play when things are incorrect, and I want to play continuously. So we could say rain sound, and it was rain and thunder. And let's play rain, stop rain. And yeah, I do want it at a low buzz kind of sound. And we want to play it when we're incorrect. So let me see what those trigger points are. Set answer state would be a good trigger point. And then where does it actually happen? It happens here. So the other thing I can do is I could actually make it based on a watch. So instead of doing it here, I can have this entirely outside and just do a watch effect. Now I want to kind of see whether I already have a watch effect on. I kind of do here, but yeah, let me watch effect. Let me create a new one. And let's see if our AI picks up on it. No, it has no idea. It has no idea what I intend. How weak. So incorrect. And it still doesn't really know.
You need a AI mind reader.
I spoke about that yesterday, actually. I said, because I'm describing what I'm saying, I would want something continuously listening, not something I have to click on a mic and do it, because I'm actually literally saying what I want. So it should always be running and be combined with this AI system in my thing here. So yeah, I think this is fine. When the answer state is incorrect, play rain. Otherwise, stop rain. What it's not doing, I guess, is playing it in a loop. And in order to get that working, I would need is playing and then is rain playing. Let's go back to where we were. I want to see if it knows what I want. This should be fine, because watch effects should watch both these. And if anytime any of these reactive references or reactive values change, it should run this function again. And so I'm content with this. Let's see if that didn't do something here. Okay, there's a bug here. So what I'm hearing right now is the sound of rain. I'm also hearing my timer, unfortunately. So because we were like, oh, when you land on this page, we want to play right away. And because the timers are not running right now, like we don't have a visual timer displaying, but the timer in the code is actually running in the background. And because we attached the sound playing to it, now it's playing with the rain. So we don't want that. So let me find where we want the play to begin. And it seemed to me that where do we want the play to begin when answer state is pending, because we don't want it on any other answer states. Okay, I like that. So we kind of have that one watch effect for sounds, and let's go ahead and add if. So we won't do this. I want pending. I don't need this. I just want play. Right? Sorry. No, I can't do this, because I can't tie it to this either. Because answer state, I was hoping I could do this, but when this value changes, then I'll run play again. And play here, maybe that's fine.
You sounded so sad when you said, no, I can't do this.
I don't know how. We can't do it. We don't know how. Because like even as I'm talking, sometimes when I build the context of the code, I'm trying to keep running the code in my head as much as I can. And I was like, oh, I could just do this, and then I'm like, oh no, that won't work. So let's see. Stop interval does this. I think stop interval. No, that's fine. And then here with play, I can make it work by saying if timer's already set, then don't do this. Get out of there. And now I definitely don't hear the ticking sounds again, but I will need to retest this so that the ticking sounds start playing. And it seems like we've broken everything. We have it's yeah, we have broken everything. Cannot access timer interval before initialization. Yeah, and that's because I defined it in over here, and I could probably honestly just bring like all my refs up to the top. I think this is why it was happening. See, okay, yeah, we're back, and it's running here, so I'm actually happy with that. I have the rain sound running, and then let me see if I have. Okay, that's not bad. We might even need more sounds, Mary. Oddly enough, and I'll tell you why. Do you feel that way already? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the silence in between the sounds.
Yeah, yeah. So let me share my screen, or yeah, let me reshare with the sounds, and we can now get a sense of what the incorrect thing sounds like. Before I do that, actually, let me just make sure the sound is off first, because I want you to experience it live. Okay. So this is the timer. I'll reveal the answer. So there's some silence here, which I'm not against. But when I now say incorrect, so there was a bit of sound, which I'm actually fine with now, because there's more continuous rain sound. I feel like that, like the standard wrong sound was just, it felt so abrupt. And now actually it feels very nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just
like the standard incorrect sound feels
Yeah.
more like a sound associated with the button press than the screen.
Oh, interesting. So let's play that again. And this time I won't speak over it. How does that make you feel?
I like it. I feel like I think like the reveal answer button needs some sort of small sound at least.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm pretty sure did I not add one? No.
You did. But I wonder, beyond a sound of its own, beyond a triggering sound,
Like a background sound?
yeah, like a continuous sound, if like a subtle continuous sound, if we can. But you do have a reveal question sound. But I feel like we'll see. We'll actually play around with it. So as a next step, you know the sound I was talking about, where I feel like I want sound, is actually here. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, and just the countdown. Not even because the timer is gonna like we don't need an additional sound for like the display of the question. I feel it's just like the countdown,
building up momentum.
yeah. And we're kind of now doing what you had suggested in the last stream, which is like this idea of what that continuous sound feels like, and it definitely feels better broadly. So let me full screen. Okay, what? We did not test that, right? Like that was a sound that was playing when things went wrong, but I thought that was addressed, but it has not been addressed, ladies and gentlemen,
my
and,
little
and
heart.
everyone else. Now you know what I went through many times. We'll go through it again here. It's happening with the play chime. So I feel like the play chime is like, no, you're out of time. You know, like you don't understand. You're seriously out of time. Okay, sorry about that. Let me stop sharing my screen. The timing was perfect for that too, because I was just about to stop sharing my screen. So none of anyone would have heard it, but here we did. I'm going to pause this so I can prevent it from happening. Actually, it's not working. It's terribly broken. So pause is broken.
Oh no.
And that will happen when you change code. So what's happening in pause? Pause does stop interval. This seems very clear to me. This is very unambiguous. And where does pause run? Hold on. What's happening? It's not working because why? So let me quickly debug this in this manner. I'm going to go up here, maybe just even in the header here. And just for debugging purposes, we'll have timer interval play out here. And it doesn't like it. So we might do something like JSON.stringify. I don't know if this will work, but let's see. Timer interval. No. So it'll say true or false. Okay. So true is there is a timer. And when I click here, that should turn to false. But it seems like there's one of the watch effects I probably have added is now turning that back on. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's kind of like this, like, I don't feel like any of this is happening. So just for test purposes, let me bring the play back here. And now that works. But I'm a bit surprised, to be honest, because what am I missing? It's not what I would have thought. So watch effect changes when answer state changes. But when we do pause, right, we're doing pause here, which does stop interval, which stops the tick. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, that's what's happening. No, that's not what's happening. So no, we're back. So, okay, stop tick. There's no tick check here, right? So answer state hasn't changed. Just timer interval has changed here. Okay, so I need to see whether I had attached something else with the timer interval that might be causing issues. So now I'm looking for timer interval in other watch effects. This is obviously one of the downsides to using watch effect, because now you have these like interlinked dependencies in your code. So when play runs, this value doesn't change. This value only changes here. Stop rain, play rain. Okay, just for clarity purposes, let's split these up so that they're in their own watch effect, which means any values that change here don't impact this. Although, this and this. So maybe really is just testing this one thing. And now let me see if, no. So that theory is incorrect. So, okay, so let me just actually trace the code. I'll do console.log. I could use the debugger here, but there's pros and cons. And we still haven't solved like the big issue on the site, right? Which is that the broken chiming sound. So we have 2 bugs which we have to resolve now. Okay. So answer state pending. So I'm just quickly checking to see if there's any messages for me. There are not. Okay. Answer state pending play. I'll bring this back because it's not, it wasn't breaking due to this, so I don't want to necessarily add more changes. So what's happening? Pause is clicked. Actually, no, let's use the debugger. Okay, so we'll enter that debugger line in here. Come back out here, and it starts immediately because answer state changes at some point, depending, and the timer starts playing. So that's the first play. Oh, we're back. So it runs twice. So that is a bug. I mean, no, it's not. It's a bug. It's not really a bug because this time it won't go here because it will return. It exists, so this time it will return. So that's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not great, but it's not a big deal. That's why we had that if statement in there in the first place. So now what happened? So now we should be fine, and the timer is running. And now if I come here and press pause, play starts running again, which is not my expectation, right? Because this time value is, let's see what value is. I thought I could paste here. It's like, don't paste code into is null. So right, so it's null, which means it's not going to return. So it'll continue. So the question is, how did it get here? And so let's take a look at the stack. It started running this from this anonymous function. So it did get here. So this watch effect was triggered as a result of pause. I'm missing something. So pause run stop interval clears this. Oh. So it clears this. And then because play is inside my watch effect, and play is being used, so it gets triggered again. So setting it and unsetting it does it. Okay, and I don't have an immediate solution for this. So let's see. Let's think about what's happening here. So play, I feel like I should have known this, but it just, I thought if you directly reference a reactive value here in this function, but anything that you call inside as well would be impacted, which is interesting. So that's my theory. I think that's what's happening, which means I don't think I can use timer interval as the state, because I can add another state here, like, timer state. So if and timer state dot value not equal paused, right? So that would be the logic. And so let's do that. Let's add a timer state. So in this case, it'll just be running pause. Maybe let's just say, no, running is fine. Timer runs. I don't want to manage an extra state, but this is the fastest way I think I have for a solution. Otherwise, I have to sit here and think of another way, and I don't want to do that. So I have a timer state, and I need to modify that timer state on pause. So here, I'm just straight up setting it to paused. By default, it's running. And then here, when a timer interval is sat. I feel like I can, I might have to adjust this based on exactly when. So when we play, it's running, right? And otherwise it's not. And now we already have that running code in there. So now when I come back, I'm hearing it, but I don't think it's working quite the way I'd like. This is working now. I feel like the sound is playing multiple times, which I'm not thrilled about, but let's see. I'm coming to the end so I can hear the chime. And that's still a problem. But back to where we were. Now we can pause again. Man, okay, that was interesting. And now I learned something deeper that I hadn't considered before, which is the reactivity works all the way down the chain. Which also makes watch effect a little bit more dangerous than you would have think, because it's not visible. Like I just want the visible values directly used in the function to call it again. There is a way to do that. So let's actually do that. When I said, oh, I'm not going to find a way to do it, that is the way to do it. So that's what that's for. So let's do that. Okay. So let me take a look at all the code that I changed here. I added a timer state, which I want to remove now because I don't think it's necessary to manage. And that instinct might be wrong, but I'm okay with that. And then timer state. Whoops, actually I can just move down the changes here. Don't need that. I do need that, and I do not need that. And if it doesn't work, I'll re-implement it. You know, we'll see. Okay, so let me get my thoughts together again, and let's also do view watch, just so I can remember the syntax. And there's multiple type of watchers, right? Here, it will just watch this ref. I do want to watch multiple refs. So let's see if they have any examples of that. So they have this, so watch this. So when sort of the these values change. Okay. I mean, I guess this is one place where I feel like, oh yeah, I could just return an array of these values. I was going to say, oh, there's one place where like the React's way of like use effect takes in an array of states that you want to watch, but that's exactly what you could do here. I wonder why they don't have that as a base example here. Oh, they do. Okay, well, because I was scanning here and I didn't see this, so they do have it. And the new values are here, which come from this. That makes sense. And then when you do something like this, you can get the new value here. Although I don't think we need to be doing that. We just care about anything in here changing. Let's do something with it. Okay, fantastic. So that's the way to do it. You don't want to, I mean, watch effect is nice, but then watch effect has effects that you might not want. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now I can make it very clear and visible what I want to change on. And here, this is doing it for me, but it's not entirely correct. So I want to do it on answer state, and I want to do it on is rain playing, and just that. I don't need any new values here. This can also go away. And now I have that. So this should be the solution without having to add another state. I think I need to do an immediate on this. Otherwise, it's not running on that first run. So now that's working. And I can pause and play without those side effects of the function. I feel like there's multiple timers playing, like 2 of them, but it's fine. I don't necessarily want to pursue that. I want to now pursue this drastic chime that was happening, which is not happening anymore. So it seems like it was probably related to a certain number of effects here. And let me get back to time allotted, where that was being set, and just say something like 5 seconds, so I can quickly run through and listen to that. Yeah, so we got a 2 for 1, right? So what I like about that, just for my own sense, like my general instinct was, I don't want an extra timer state because I felt like timer interval should have done it. Now, I implemented that and we still had the timer issue was still happening. So we got lucky here. Like I would have otherwise had to debug it. But because we did the right thing, quote unquote, in terms of not using watch effect for that case, and I was like, oh, why doesn't it just do what I want in my heart? Which essentially is product management, right? You're like, why doesn't the code do what I want in my heart? And then here, I was saying, I only wanted to run when these values change, not when kind of deeper values inside here or here change. And so we did the right thing and we got lucky with another bug fix. Yeah, I think this is definitely playing twice, but we spent a lot of time here, so I don't want to, maybe that's something we could take a look at later. So what we added here is rain and thunder. Really. Adding rain and thunder. And now let's do the correct situation. Okay, I committed this 5-second thing, so we'll fix that as well later. Okay, reveal answer correct. And so I want the music playing, and this will feel really terrible. But maybe secretly Mary has been furiously searching for other music clips in the background. We don't know. We don't know what's happening.
I want to hear yours.
Okay, all right. Maybe. Okay, let me see. No. Maybe. They're too adult. But let's see.
I mean, I want to hear it just because.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same. I just want to see what it feels like. So what? Okay. Let's get those free Afro beats in there. I'm just going to call it afrobeat.mp3. And let's get that Dutch server started again. And I'm going to say import Afrobeat sound. Yeah, that looks correct. And then down here, we'll get that going. I also want is playing. So I guess our friend here wasn't smart enough or whatever. It wasn't attuned enough to do that. And then I'm going to go into my rain is playing area here, and we'll add another bit here. That looks good. Now we do have to manually go ahead and watch for this extra field here, which is another thing AI It's probably my editor. I'm assuming other AI editors, the moment you get this in here, would be like, hey, you gotta add this here. Maybe the other ones do that, but definitely that's another like added functionality is like it keeps the context in mind and prevents bugs as you code. Okay. So now we should get an Afrobeat playing on correct. And so it doesn't like this. Did I call it something else? Let's take a look. Oh. Yeah, I moved it into the wrong directory like a loser. So we'll take Afrobeats from here and put them in the right directory, also like a loser. Okay. npm dev. And let's go. Okay, so I guess I'll hear it first and then I'll share my screen. Okay.
I'm like watching your face.
Yeah, let me share.
No comment.
No, you have to. I wish I didn't do that. I wish we both had the same timed reaction, but I feel like this is fine too. I feel like this was like adds more suspense. So that's fine. All right, here we are. We're revealing the answer. Actually, we'll press play here. Let's do this round. We're like, this happens. That happens. You go, give your answer, Wilfred. What is it? And Wilfred says, it's 65. And we're like, okay. I don't hate it. Because it really feels like, to me, it feels like the sounds are coming from here. So it's not like, it's not in isolation. Your thoughts?
I don't hate it.
But yeah, I don't hate it. Do I love it? I don't know if I love it, but I don't know if I need to love it either. I feel like I don't hate it. Did you want to potentially try other sounds, or are you okay with this one for now?
No, we can stick with this for now.
Yeah, I'm happy with the rain sounds. The other thing I want to test very quickly is whether, well, I want to test a flow of like wrong, right kind of business. So here we go. And we're like, okay, time's up. Answer, Marco, get it out. Spit it out. And then Marco says, 17. Okay.
Sad beans.
Next turn. So the sound stops while this is happening.
Yeah, I feel like the countdown definitely needs something.
Mm-hmm. This happens. Reveal. And Eve is correct. I'm okay with it.
Sorry.
What, you don't like it? Change your mind?
It's not that I don't like it. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, same here. You saw my reaction. I was like, what's happening here? But I didn't hate it. I was like, you know what? It's fine. I think it could be a little... it could be more subtle.
It's neat. Wait, how many times does it repeat?
It's loops while you're on this page.
Ah, okay.
So that's the idea. Is like
until you.
Yeah, and I like that because it's like it feels like you're playing the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next turn, and then 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, I'm okay with this. So I'm going to change this back to its original time. Okay, I got to reshare my screen. Okay, we're back. And now, yeah, but, we might fiddle with the stuff here and there as we feel. And then let's take a look at time allotted. And here is my hard code, and we'll go ahead and get this Afrobeat in there. By the way, these sounds are coming from Pixabay, B-A-Y, Bay. And that's it. So, yeah, this part is funny. Like, I've used this. I use this often, but it didn't occur to me. Like, when I was in that watch effect zone, I was just like, watch effect this, watch effect that. And then, here we are. Okay, so adding Afrobeat to correct. Yeah. Okay, so what is next? Let's see. Did I have any other sounds in here that I wanted to immediately address?
What about reveal answer? Or did we already?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel the need for a sound to happen here. But I think, yeah, if you wanna experiment with something, that's fine. Okay, you did say you had something, right?
I think so.
You had reveal question, by the way,
okay.
not reveal answer. But is this what we want to use? Let me know.
Did
we'll try it out.
Did we have a review question sound?
Yeah, it's the ticker.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to try this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Question 001.og. Seems like I already downloaded it before, so let's try that out. I guess it's faster just to type out the front here, but okay. Question 001.og to access sounds answer.og. Okay, and we'll get that. There's some hammering happening right outside my window, and I'm curious whether the mic is picking it up. It just stopped the moment I said up.
Okay.
But had you heard it before?
I heard something, but
okay,
it was barely audible.
Got it. Okay, so I want answer sound. And here, it's not answer state, and this is og. And then here, we'll go ahead and I don't know why I just accepted it blindly. Const. Yeah, answer should just be super quick. I don't think we need stop or any of that. And now we can also go back to our general answer state. Okay, answer sound. That's why that was happening. And that serves me right for not doing AI, for not reviewing AI. Okay, so we're back here, and this should change as well. And okay, good. And then let's go back to our watch, not our watch effect. See, I've used watches before. See, like I'm not just making stuff up. In here, we'll want to say some of this if reveal answer. Then we want to play the rain according to the AI. Like I feel like it should know what I want at this point, right? Let's just accept it, and then okay, yeah, none of this is necessary, so should not have accepted that. And we want to play answer. Okay. I guess I'll hear it before you do. So okay, let's see. Let me share my screen. Let me reshare my tab. And let's refresh. So you got it. I don't know if I like it, to be honest. Thoughts?
I like there being something, but not sure if it's that.
I'm actually okay with there not being anything. And one reason is because I feel like the people will respond when they're playing. Like if I'm watching this and they're like, you say 0.56 and we go correct or not, I would be shocked if it was just a silent
That's true. That's
classroom
true.
of kids. So I feel like that sound is actually in the room, and then this kind of like more or less like a, oh, you got it, you can dance before the next person gets ready kind of thing. And the incorrect is you could cry while the next person is getting ready. And I feel like those elements. Are you okay if I remove it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. Then let's get rid of it. Yeah, let's get rid of that and that. And let's get rid of that. Okay. So do we want to try something here?
Yes, maybe. I'm not
Well,
sure what's
we have a
what's
sound.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah, we do. Like we already have it.
We do?
Yeah. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Give me 1 second, Mary. I'm not sure if you can take over in certain ways. Give me 1 moment, please.
How mysterious. I'm just looking at the Notion page to see what it is that we have. I think trying to look at, I guess I'll share my screen for a bit. My Notion is in night mode, so very dark. I think what Adnan might be referring to is this tick sound, maybe? Because I think all of these are like the jazzy ones. So I'm thinking that it's this one, which I don't think can be played here, but I believe this is just like a single tick, which could work because I wrote down here like we could use this for either the timer or the countdown. And I think for the countdown, it would be like 1 tick per second for those 3 seconds. But other than that, I'm also just opening up the kenny.nl page, which is I think an open source place where somebody has shared a bunch of assets for building games, which is nice because when you're building something, you don't want to go into like too many rabbit holes, and having free assets that you can just use for whatever you're building is helpful. And I have personally never built any games, so very helpful. Definitely a lot more assets that aren't sounds than the ones that are. So I used it here and just looked at the audio, and a lot of the sounds that I found that are like the OGG format came from one of these packs. I think I used UI audio. I'm not sharing my tab, so I don't think I can share the audio. 1 sec. Okay, there we go. I think now you can hear the sound, and I think this is the kit that I got it from. But when you download it, it's like essentially a pack of different audio. But you can like, yeah, I don't think I used this one. But one of the packs is where I got some of the audio from, and I have never really used like sound in any product that I've worked on actually. So yeah, everything is fairly new. Oh, welcome back. Are you back? Oh no, you don't have your audio on.
Oh yeah, I muted my mic both ways. But yeah, I'm back, and there's somebody at the door because it rang and then I had to get it. So
Everything okay?
yeah, everything's fine. I just went up and down the stairs, so I'm just like I'm out of breath. I'm done. That's it. I mean, jeez. What do we do?
I was just looking at the I guess this, I don't even know what this is, but like somebody put together a bunch of like assets to be used in like games.
Okay.
And I really like it because like when you're building a game or anything really, like you don't want to go down too many rabbit holes of like, oh, now I'm gonna create the music, now I'm gonna design the sounds associated with like clicking a button. So I like assets here, and I just mentioned that I have never. Oh yeah, like there's all these cool.
You don't want to use first person shooter for a game. You don't want. That's weird. You didn't jump into that right away. Okay, but this is super cool. Yeah. And these are these paid assets?
No, they are free.
What?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this magical website called?
It's kenny.nl.
Huh.
Yeah.
Having that said,
by donations.
Oh wow, kenny.nl. And did you like something?
Like in terms of sound?
Yeah, did you find something that you liked?
I was just looking at so I think I can play them. If I play this, it's gonna like play everything in the pack, which is not overly helpful, but it gives you a sense of like what types of sound is in each pack. Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Oh my god, my ears.
What's this pack called?
It's just called digital audio.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But you can see like there are some tags like space, laser.
Got it. Yeah, that's what it was. It was very like, pew pew.
Yeah. I think the ones that I found came from either interface sounds or UI audio, which is more like to do with like interacting with something. So like clicking a button, revealing, like maximizing, minimizing, that kind of thing. Yeah. So we don't have to go into it, but that's where one of the like tick sounds came from. And I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to when you said you have a sound.
Yeah, we do have a sound, and that is the sound I was referring to because we have it. It's in the app, and maybe I can implement that. See how that feels. One, right? Yeah, the Insta tick. Okay, so let me reshare my screen once again. Here we go. So we're here. We want in that countdown to hear sounds. So let's see if we can't set that up. So, which used to be the old tick sound, which I'll call click sound now. I know, it's unhelpful. Fine, but whatever. Let's take a look at what it was called. Tick. So maybe I should have changed this to timer, but look, it's fine. Okay, so I got this. I got a click sound. Let me add the additional play kick business. I don't need a stop here either because it will happen really fast. It's less than a second, the sound itself. And then I wanted to play. It actually doesn't even belong here. It belongs in a different component. So the component it belongs in is next turn countdown, right? Because we refactored it. So click sound goes here. Oh, it should go here. I don't know why I put it there. I thought I was copying another bit of code, which was this. So click sound setup goes here. Okay. And let's now work in this file. And we want it when every time we go down one, right? I think. Let's see.
Yep.
And if this works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll try again. And can I import uSound? Yeah. I thought I imported uSound, but it didn't want to work. That's not right. That is right. Okay. So I guess I'll experience it first. Yeah. Yeah. Is it the best thing in the world? No.
How does it feel?
No. It doesn't feel like the best thing in the world. But does it feel fairly natural? Yes. I actually, before I share it, I want to fix it because there's a natural spot here that there should be 3 ticks. There's only one. There's only 2, sorry. So there's one starting tick or ending tick that ought to happen. I'm trying to find out where. Like, can I still do this? And this will be tick, tick, tick. Let's see. Okay, we can actually play around with this. So now I'll share my tab, and if we play around about where we place the 3rd tick, we can mess about with it. So I'll start with what I just heard. So we're back here. Next turn. How did that feel?
I feel like it's very close, but there's something about it that feels a little bit off.
Okay. I want to see what happens if we have that play tick first thing. Okay, so we're back here. It didn't play. Okay, it keeps on playing. That's a little bonus. I thought there would be an initial tick right off the bat.
3, yeah.
Yeah. And where else would I put that code? Oh no, it happens immediately. It happens right away. So.
Oh, we have a suggestion, and I think it's a good one.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I wonder if uSound has any like thing that changes the pitch or something. You know, like I wonder if there's any modifications that you could do to the sound. It doesn't seem like it. I don't see any playback rate, but for something that's so short, I don't know if that'll make a difference.
I mean, it's not hard to like change the pitch.
Oh,
manually.
By hand?
Yeah.
Like how we rotate the drop. Hinoji, welcome back to the stream. We're very close to being done.
Yeah. Now we're just being picky.
Yeah, which is fine, which is nice, you know. Like, but I think it does add to the flow and the rhythm of the game. So I'm fairly content with what we're trying to do. And so I guess while I'm assuming, Mary, that you're furiously changing the tone or the note.
Yeah, I can look into it.
Oh, okay. So that was just something you suggested we weren't gonna do. Okay. All right, so that's what we're doing here.
I have Audacity.
Yeah, the audacity to say we should do it, but not actually do it. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Exactly.
In the meanwhile, let me try and get a sense of why. So why that first tick isn't happening and how I can adjust for it. So especially if we have to keep track of the ticks and the last one needs to be this and that. So this happens, and initially we're started at 2. Oh, then I'd have to be like greater than or equal to 0. Will that do the right thing? I don't think this will, but it shows the 0. I wonder how we feel about that. But this also means that we strictly get 3 ticks, first of all. Or I could also have done I could also my brain is not thinking about it properly, so I won't bother. I was thinking maybe I could do 3 and greater than or equal to 1. But then I got to get rid of this. So, but is that not just the equivalent? Let's see. Yeah, that is exactly the equivalent. So that was just absolutely useless. That's fine. I can adjust the pitch with the view. Hinoji says.
That's cool.
Would it be would it still be within that use sound business about like using like would the playback rate do it? Like I don't, Okay, let's see. Because I don't know how sound works. Just in my, just generally. Sound playback rate. Oh, this is a React hook. View the use. There you go. Just trying to see if there's an indication of how this works. So I can pass in a playback rate. If playback rate changes, the sound will immediately begin playing at a new rate. So we could try something like this here. And if nothing else, we'll know what it feels like. So here we'll say playback rate. So we're passing that value in. And it is a ref that we're passing in here. And then here, I probably, prior to the play, I can come back here and say if can I do this? Excuse me. Okay, let's see what this feels like. Because I don't know how sound works, so we'll have to see. Because it's like, oh, it should be a higher note. I think it is, but let's see. This happens, this happens. If it's equal to 1, this is 0. So this actually should be 0. Because the last change is happening here. That makes sense. And then I think I could just get rid of this because it's 1 by default and it only changes here. And then this component itself is gone, so it'll restart. So let me come back here and share my tab so we can hear the sound. Okay.
it's definitely working.
You don't like it. That's like oh
I feel like
it walks, but I don't like where it's going.
No. I like it. I'd want to see how it sounds if it's a little bit more dramatic. Maybe I will hate it, but I want to see.
How do we make it dramatic?
What is the number that you put right now for the playback rate?
1.5.
I don't know. Try 2.
Okay. Trying with 2 now.
I like it.
Short. Oh, you like it?
Yeah, it feels a little short. Like, is that the limitation of using playback rate?
No, it's the sound itself is like half a second.
True.
So you're not getting that much sound out of it. What we could do, it started off.
Yeah, can we like
at something like 0.5?
Yeah, maybe like
let's
gradually. And then
yeah.
I'm also wondering if like adjusting the volume on that last tick could help.
Can do. So I'm just doing this in the background while. So what I'll do is I'll just change that value by half or whatever it is every time. So let's see what this feels like now.
Oh no.
The music, I know. I don't even think I want to fix that, to be honest. It's still too.
Okay, I don't like the gradual increase.
Okay, so we don't like gradual, she says. But so what if I go back to what we had, which is on 0, it can be 1. So it's half by default, and on 0 it goes to 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's. Yeah, I feel like it's real.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens if? So I'm just trying something. If you will bear with me.
This is kind of fun. Like, I don't think I've ever. I think I was saying this earlier, but I don't think I've ever like dealt with audio in any product.
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, that's fine. Let's not do that. Okay, so I'm back to where I was before, and that's fine. We'll just keep it like this. So let's just give one more run. Are you okay with that 0? I'm okay. I'm actually okay with that 0. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me share my screen again for the code. And so now we have a countdown here. And all that sound code is contained within this component, which I like. We modified the initial playback rate, and we're using the regular playback, which sounds a little bit like it gives the thing more time, which is nice. And let's go. Adding tick sounds to countdown. Okay, so the thing that's not happening is, yeah, I know. I think I know what I need to do. So I'll just do this. I mean, I need to do it on screen, but I will just do it, and I won't reveal if it works or not. Is when a new round starts. When we go to the new round, I want to stop playing the sounds. So let's get back here, and that's happening in our watch. Right, this watch over here And ideally, it should stop playing the rain. It should stop playing the Afrobeat, which it continues to play. So answer state needs to change when we go to a new round. Is that it? Or answer state, round, finish round. And then, but I can't, maybe I can do this. Like a null or none, maybe. And when we go to that next round, I set answer state to none. I don't know what this will do to the UI because but those two things happen so quickly. So let me get to that end of round. I like this. So now it's playing and I'm finishing the round and it immediately goes away. And there wasn't any like absurdness in the UI. Okay, so that did it. Non-state, answer state to stop any sounds. Okay, what's next?
I think there's that one bug.
Oh yeah. I added it here. Okay, let's do it. Let's fix bugs. Which is what we've been doing like half the time here anyway. So all right, so this one is in the question. And I think it was the multi something question. I should have
multiplication.
I think it's a pattern.
No, it was like the step pattern maybe.
Let's see the ones that do have excludes. So these ones don't. This one does. Next number in multiple patterns. So does the other patterns? Okay. So what I will do is I will go all the way back up here and just comment everything out. So we're just dealing with that one question. Actually, that's not what I'll do. That'll take forever. I will first comment everything out. And then I will look for a pattern till we find our pattern. And I will comment this in. Okay. And now I can go back and start a new round. Actually, one thing I need to do is, where should clicking this go?
Good question.
To the start math page or to our landing page?
I will take a look.
Because when I'm starting a game, I find myself just modifying the URL. So I'm like, I should be able to click somewhere, right? That's fine. Let's do this where every question is now that pattern question. And this is a great case of that issue. And so I'm trying to, let's just read the question to see when that would begin to happen. So the starting point is -2, right? Because that's what it starts with. And then A is times change. And it seems like change didn't care that this happened. While I'm thinking through this, OJ, I just read your comment that says make the player confirm. Whoops, okay, we did production at the same time. Make the player confirm. Can you elaborate on what you'd meant? Because that's one of the interesting things about streaming is like we do the stream, it takes like whatever 8 seconds, the same amount of time it takes light to get from the sun to Earth. That's how much time it takes for like that gap when you see us say the thing, and then you get the comment. It takes it 8 seconds back for us to get the comment back, or whatever, 2 seconds, whatever the case may be. But by that time, we've there's a gap. So okay. So here my assumption would have been that change variables exclude is working. Oh, I see what you mean. No, right now nothing happens, but I see what you mean. Like anytime you leave, we should ask you like, hey, are you sure this is what you want to do? But right now nothing happens when I click. But I wanted to. I wanted to go back to main. Okay, so let me see what exclude is and what it does in the code. Variable that exclude dot includes variable value or string continue. So, like, I guess as far as I'm concerned, that should work. Let me see. We need to fix this. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is happening. Let me quickly move on to the next question to see if it happens again. And again, it's going to happen. No, it might not actually. No, this seems pretty consistent. It's like a randomizer is like, you're going to get 0. That's all you're going to get. It's almost like it's ensuring that the number is like, it seems like it's including instead of excluding, But I'm curious why none of these have been -1s or, okay, finally. It seems like we've gotten a 2. So no, it just seems like it's just not working. Because we finally got a 2. So let me maybe begin by saying this. So I'm going to say if this is just variable dot exclude. So start off here, and I'm just going to add some debugging code here, just so I can quickly grasp better and get a sense of what's happening. Let's go back here. I'm in my generate question function. So I should be able to use my totally unused test case here. And let's see if we can't debug this in the background. So let me go find my question type, question temp, whatever you want to call it. There it is. Okay, I'm just going to copy this wholesale. Here, const question type is equal to whatever this is. Right. And generate question here should, oh, it does this, and it's just using questions. So that's not what I should be doing. So I should call this, do some refactoring in order to make this a little bit more debuggable. So we'll do that. We'll do this and get that question in there. And then the thing I want to do is now to pass in the questions here, which means I need to change this so that questions is something that's passed in. And I do need to type it properly. And questions is record questions type. And we're here, and this actually should be question type. So we got that, and let's take a look. Yeah, I do use Control O, Control I often, I guess, in just some cases where sometimes I feel like, oh, it's close enough, I can scroll to it, and then turns out I'm wrong, and then I'm scrolling forever. Okay, so I just want to make sure in the code itself, I'm accommodating for how this is changing. So this will need to get questions, which I don't love. But now we'll need to get the questions from here. So I'll make this work first. So I'll export this. This is not great. It's not the best, but okay, fine. I'm not concerned about the cleanliness of this right now. Okay, so now we have a case where there's only one use case for it too, so that's fine. And then back into the test area where now I have questions here instead. And this, okay, sorry, I just need to pause this and then I need to mute this because that is distracting, it turns out. So here I can actually, instead of doing this copy paste stuff, turns out I can just import. And now I'll get exactly the question that I want. And then I can, instead of this, I can say pnpm test. And now if I add some debugging things in here, I'll begin to see. So, I mean, it turns out I already do have some debugging things in here. And what I want, actually, is to create a case where exclude should always fail. And therefore, then I can get it to work. So I'm not too concerned about like writing a proper test to test it. I'm more concerned about just getting it to work. So let's do that. Here we go back into the question. We want to get to exclude here. And then the other thing I want to do is maybe split this screen so I can come back to the question here. And then in this case, I will scroll endlessly. Not endlessly, it's pretty close. It's here. So the case I want to create is changes like 0 and 0. And it should have an issue. Like it should not be 0 ever. So this should work. And that's the deal. So let's see what that did here. So this was this, and changes value was set to 0, and that should not be happening. So let's try and figure out why that's happening. And I could probably, so the type is integer. So I just want to see what the deal is here. So some value gets set, right? So that's the first step. Value gets set. And then there's a value, it is valid business happening, which happens at the end of the loop, which means that this is not working. Right? So let me come back here and just take a look broadly. And here I can be very particular and specific. So let's say something like if key equals change, then, like do all these debugging things. So I kind of want to just take this and variable dot exclude. So this is happening. I want to do some console.logs here. So let's get that value. The value should be 0. Let's output the exclude value. What if it's not being read? What if it's empty? If that's the case, then we'll never get in here. So I realize I put an if clause in here and whatever, but if we never get in here, then I know that this isn't happening. I can also, just to confirm, do that as well. So let's have a key value thing going. Okay, and then I want to get this should exclude, and then I'll console.log that as well. Right, because what I would have assumed is this continue happens, and then we're back on the top of the loop, and we're generating a new number. And then I have used dab and vim. I have, but I haven't. It's not part of my general flow yet, because as I'm kind of building out my vim config, I want to just get it right. NeoTest I have not heard of, so I feel like this I can probably just get rid of because it's just distracting me at the bottom. And let's see. Okay. So this continue shouldn't be happening. And hopefully by the time we come here, all that should have run. So change does have this. Should exclude should be true, but it's false. And maybe I'm just not good at reading code. So let's see. No, yeah. Oh, yeah. What a great bug. What a great bug. Okay, got it. So in JavaScript, 0 is a false value. In Ruby, it's not. And in JavaScript, it's a false value, so this is happening. So when it, like this is happening, so I just need to ensure that, and I did it to avoid this null clause, but I can just make that part of the if. Same as. So I'm happy to get rid of this. I'm like fairly confident that this is the case. This is what I should have done to begin. No, this won't work either. What am I doing? Not equals to null. It literally caught me again. So, okay. So natural to do this. Okay, anyway. Here we go. And now when I come back here, I got rid of all my comments. But at the very least, I can go back here and no, I can't because I stopped the server. So I can come back here and dev, and then I'm happy to just come back here and change this back. Like I'm so confident, right? And we'll give this a shot, and we should not see any zeros happening anymore. Yeah. And now this feels like a real question that isn't just like the next number is 0. Okay, we did it. First try. Okay, I am content with this. So now I'll just do that and then do that, bring everything back. And let's take a look at the changes that we made. So now I'm passing questions in. That's fine. This is also fine. This does nothing. And then I'm exporting here, and then sure, we typed it. And then we need to change the bug fixes over here when it's 0. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So now when I come back here, I can check this off the list. And how are we feeling now, Mary?
Excellent.
Okay, cool. Well, this has been 2 hours now. So do we call it a night, or do we jump into some of the other things that we might have done?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned to you in private, one of my biggest problems is I think it's twofold. One is underestimating
Mm-hmm.
the amount of work, and also like overestimating on the other end of like
Mm-hmm.
how much capacity we have.
Yeah, for sure. Which is, I think, it's like one of my instincts, and to the I guess the word I'm looking for, not detriment necessarily, but that people find annoying, is I will try and just limit functionality, right? Because the thing is, like, we reduce scope up front so that we know whatever. I don't estimate. I don't care about estimating. I'm like, is this important? Okay, then let's do it, but let's do some of it, and then see if it's still important,
Yeah.
And that cycle then takes away this, like, kind of some unnecessary pressures that kind of come into the idea of like, hey,
We're finishing it today.
well, no, that's fine. That's not. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking more along like the work thing.
Oh, like
This finishing it today thing was kind of just me being like silly, and there was actually no pressure. There was actually zero pressure. It's like, what happens? Nothing. What happened? Did anything happen? No, nothing happened. Look, everything's the same.
Yeah. I think there's like a tiny bit left in terms of like the routing and stuff. Like, what happens when you click on Honeypot Math, and like how do you get to the homepage, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there will be other small things that surface when we play test it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like we can do that whenever next time is a random time in the future,
or not even. Like, do we need anything that we actually need to change now? Like, I feel like I'm ready to test this with real people without actually changing anything.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
I think then the challenge is finding the peoples.
Finding people to play. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fair. Yeah.
Which honestly is a bit of a challenge when it comes to like user research as well, like recruiting people, like willing participants who are also not shy about providing feedback. Like, they're not gonna just tell you what you want to hear.
Well, we'd have to schedule it now, like today. You know what I mean? Or at least like send out feelers almost today in order to get a sense of eventually being able to schedule someone. Say if we want to do next Friday or whatever day, even if it's an in-between day, that's fine. But let's see if we can't, send some. What do people do? Calendly? Is that? I don't know. Whatever time slot business that we can arrange. Or no, Calendly doesn't work for multiple people, but something like shared. When's everybody free, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing that you'd wanted to do was some reflection on the process thus far, and I'm actually very curious to hear about your reflections.
My reflections. I just prepped questions. I did not prep answers.
You have questions? Like, you actually prepped questions? Oh wow. Okay. This is great. This is gonna be you interviewing yourself. Ready? On your mark. Because I don't do reflection. Oh, thinking back on the past.
No,
I mean, come on.
We're
It's
just having
gone.
a conversation.
Okay, all right, fine.
Um,
Fine, we can have a conversation.
well, like we called this product like it's Friday.
Yeah.
What was a Friday feeling that a time that you felt energized, or like like that captured that spirit, that you can think of through this experience so far?
Maybe I don't understand the question. It's like, are you saying why we picked Friday, or
No, it's more like the
yeah?
spirit. The spirit of product like it's Friday
Oh,
is that it's product, and Friday in my mind at least imply that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's chill. It's more like
I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, okay. I the name honestly to me uh, was just something silly. Where like because we scheduled on Friday, and it was like, oh, what do we call it? Product like it's Friday, and I've used this pattern for some of my other meetings in the past. Well, I'll say whatever the meeting subject is, like it's the day it is, and that's the template I've used. So the name wasn't as intentional, but I think was it for you?
I mean, I liked it because of that.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so that's what connected with the name. Because if we were doing Thursday, I would have called it product like it's Thursday. That's what I would have suggested. So for me, it was just. But yeah, I mean, the flip side of that is that I think the spirit emerges um, in the process, right? Like as you're doing it, and the first reaction that I would have to that is um, most of our sessions were not on Friday.
That's true. I mean,
The
yeah.
overwhelming majority of our sessions were not on Friday. And when we began this, I didn't know how much time I would be able to put in, or you would be able to put in, and we would be able to put in together. And instead of trying to overcommit, definitely the idea was to undercommit and just, like I like the way we started of like, okay, if you have time, you'll do it whenever in between. So the idea of because we discussed this, it was in between wasn't something that emerged. I knew like if I don't want any blockers either for you or me, and I want it to be free flowing, which means that okay, fine. If one of us is not available and the other person is, they'll do if they want to. So when the thought emerges, they'll just schedule it. I even said to you, hey, like sometimes I'm going to do it like 5 minutes before I go live. I'll feel like it. I'll send you a note. If you could join, you could join. If not, is this okay? I was like, is this fine? Because I knew that my behavior patterns need to be super free flowing. Otherwise, it just feels so structured, and then maybe I don't do it. So those are my general reflections on just even the name and the spirit of how we got there. I was like, you have to answer it, but then you trapped me into a conversation. So now you have to answer it.
Don't put it that way.
you tricked me into talking.
I mean, I really do enjoy like having like this type of conversation as well.
Yeah.
So it's been nice. I've enjoyed the Fridayness of it.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's a word, but I enjoyed like, especially at my last job, I had Friday afternoons off. So I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a great like intentional time to set aside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also was thinking about like the capacity thing, as
Yeah.
that I struggle with managing my own capacity.
Okay.
So I think the under commitment to start is the right move
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
me as well. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think like one thing I think about is like, oh, how does this differ from like regular work? And like there are so many like different, like, things move so much faster,
Where?
because
Where? In regular work or in fake
like
work?
fake work here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like, one, there's just less variables
Yeah.
to consider. Like, we don't have to be like, oh, we got to get buying or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, like, again, like, it's really cool to see a lot of things come together in the span of like a session a week.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's also great to ease your shame.
Okay, yeah, slowly we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you along the way?
I mean, I don't think I had any particular surprising standouts. I mean, I didn't, again, it kind of goes back to the timing thing, which is I did not think I would spend like every day for 20 something days. Like it just, not that I didn't think I would do it, but I also didn't think I would do it. Both. Like it was just not something that I was like, oh, let's see. It was more like, let's see what happens versus trying to predict what I would do. Although, yeah, I did not. I think I wanted it somewhere in my heart. Like I was like, oh, if I could just, spend some time, a chunk of time every day. That I did think about that, but it was kind of like I'm not gonna hold on to that, and we'll see how it goes. And so which is why I don't think it's as surprising, but it's very interesting that I did do it given the chance.
What motivated you?
Getting it done, because the thing is, if we only did Fridays, it would take like, come on, like it would take 25 more Fridays or 26 more Fridays, so that time range is like, you just can't get stuff done in that time frame. I also think the idea of like playing ping pong, which is like, like you kind of serve by doing a design or whatever. And then now like I'm kind of serving back by coding it. And now you're kind of like, oh, I need to return we need to play. And I think keeping that going was important to me.
Yeah, I think the accountability definitely helped. Like, I mean, there's a bit of like pressure as well, of like, oh, like I don't want to like be blocking anything. At least at the start.
Okay, interesting. Okay, because I mean, like I didn't. Maybe I behaved that way, but I didn't approach it that way because to me, it genuinely didn't matter. Like in a sense of like, it's fine. I was like, it's fine if like, because the first, let's say 2 weeks, it was like, oh, we'll just do this day. You know what I mean? And I think once we got to a level where we had a more concrete idea of how we were gonna, have a flow, then it was kind of like that kind of just kickstarted the process. So nowhere in that there I felt like, oh, if I don't do something, because every day is too much sometimes, it's like, come on. So nowhere in there did I feel like, oh, I have to do every day because I need to keep otherwise Mary's gonna hold me accountable, which is why I don't like accountability as the word necessarily. And maybe the right word is reciprocity versus accountability, because it's not like Mary's gonna like, okay, like what would happen, or what would I say, like like I'd be like, okay, cool, whatever. And maybe because we are generally in structures where accountability is like a thing that's enforced or kind of put upon you somewhere.
Like forced accountability.
Yeah, that wasn't the sense for me. It was kind of like reciprocity. Oh, like Mary did this thing yesterday, maybe I can try and do this thing today.
Okay, so more like showing up.
Yeah, more like returning the serve so we can keep playing.
Okay, cool.
Versus accountability where you're like, oh my god, oh no, like
like the friend streaks on Duolingo.
Like, exactly. Or I have to look so and so in the eye and feel whatever. So that wasn't like, that essence of accountability was not part of my thinking at all. Was there something that surprised you?
I think for me, I mean, it's like a big part of what I reflected on is how uncomfortable I am when I feel like I'm being useless.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And it's definitely less about like product building and more just like an internal reflection, and also like seeing how it shows up in other areas of my life.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, like I feel like I'm not contributing. What can I be doing? And sometimes the things that I'm like trying to help
Mm-hmm.
are not helpful. and I think that's also a very like, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
a reflection to like think about, because I think maybe a better approach would have been just being like, can I help? Like, is there anything I can help with?
I think, and I think I said this before. I'm going to say it in a certain way, which is a bit weird, and I'll explain myself. But I don't think you should worry about it either way. Which is like, if you do something, you should do the thing you want. Either way, and you can't stop worrying about a thing. So, which is why it's weird to say, "Oh, don't worry about it either way." But the intention of that is to say, "So what?" Like, so what if you are quote unquote useless? Like what's like is there are we gonna go to a performance review and be like, hey Mary, can I talk to you off stream, please? You know, in session number 28, I feel like you weren't pulling your weight, if you know what I'm saying. Or the inverse, where you suggest something or whether it was helpful. I don't think you should worry about it either way, because there's no particular consequence to that either way, and you should just think of it as really just like, you know, when like kids play in the playground and everyone's chasing the ball and sometimes nobody's chasing the ball and people are like, that's fine, the kids are running. They're on the playground, that's enough. We got to the playground, that's enough. I think that's how I picture it. It's like we're on the playground.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You score a goal, like you take it to the parents on the sidelines are like, fighting with the coach. Relax. Your child's playing. Just enjoy it.
Oh.
Is
there anything you want to try? Like
in my life? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my.
Big question.
Is there anything I want to do next? I think, I feel like, so off stream, I did throw a couple ideas or thoughts your way. I think there's a bunch of things I want to try. Some of those stuff I didn't share. So in 2019, I had left a job that I was at for like about 7 years. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me see if I can pursue some of these ideas that I've had lingering. And one of them was, and I discussed parts of it with you, which was like a tool set for people management, let's just say, that isn't around accountability, but it's around understanding, right? So a tool set that helps you understand yourself better and maybe your coworkers better, and could be used in non-work contexts as well. So I like that thought. And there's some, books and ideas that I would just copy and build. Another idea that I actually started working on, and then I didn't continue because I got a job, was something I was calling Reminisce. And the idea of that was it'd be like a note taker / bookmarking tool that, there's a bunch of them available out there, Get Pocket, whatever. And I was like, okay, you know what? There's some very specific things that I want a bookmarking tool to do sometimes, where I'll bookmark a lot of things and I'll never look at them or read them, right? But I don't necessarily want to solve that problem, because we're like, oh, have a reminder or a digest. Well, I ignore those emails too. You know what I mean? I'm like, get it all out. I just want bookmark. The drug is bookmarking. It's not actually reading, right? I don't necessarily want to solve that problem. What I want to do is, and now with AI, things become a bit easier. Like, this is 5 years ago, where like there wasn't a ChatGPT API or whatever, right? So get some proper tagging happening. So for searchability of what you're bookmarking, and then to try and determine intent, which actually is with AI is a lot easier now. So for example, sometimes I'll bookmark like a page on Amazon. Why would I ever do that? It's because I want to probably buy this thing, or I bookmark somebody shares a book with me, or I'm on Twitter or whatever, and some author is like, oh, this is my book, and I go, oh, I might want to buy that or read that. Like, okay, so I bookmark it, and then I never go back. And that's a very specific thing that I might have done, And it's interesting because it's related to commerce. So there's like an idea of like potentially monetizing it. Although my intention was still this base idea of like, when I'm bookmarking something, what is the intent of that bookmark? And without me having to explicitly indicate it, can I, I want to build intent into bookmarking. And so the idea of reminisce was kind of like this idea of like taking notes, bookmarking things. And the purchasing one is the easiest one to think about, but I don't remember, there was other examples I had was like, oh, when I bookmark this type of thing, this is probably what I intend to do with it. So when you remind me, drive me to my intention, not necessarily just to the content of what it was. And I think that's what I want out of a bookmarking tool, is like something that helps me, reminds me of my intent.
That's neat. I have not heard that one before.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used bookmarking tools deeply recently, so I don't know whether this kind of a thing is embedded in there, but definitely, like, just monetization wise, although that's the last thing I want to think about while doing this, but it just, sometimes that aspect can be interesting to play around with, where like, if you bookmark a link to Amazon, then you can embed your affiliate code in there, that kind of stuff, which has some interesting aspects to it. But there's also other forms of like simplicity as well was super important to me. Like I want to make it super simple, like just, like get to the intent, get to the hard stuff faster. And now with AI, you could do things like summarizing and all those other things as well. So yeah, something like that.
Cool. How do we I guess decide? I guess I have multiple questions.
Okay.
One is like, and I do have to go in 10 minutes, but
oh no, okay. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire, yes. Where do you keep your ideas?
In my heart.
That's
right here. Yeah.
No Notion page?
Not for these ideas, I don't think. I did at some point have this device that I had for writing purposes, one of those like Android tablets that used e-ink, and I had jotted some ideas down there, but that was literally that was in 2019. There was somewhere in 2019 where I was like, okay, let me just think about some of these ideas. Those are the two ones I remember. I think I had one or two other ideas, but I don't remember them right now. I'd have to dig them out.
I have almost all of my ideas in the Notion database. And there are, let's see, according to the count, there are 34 of them.
Wow.
Of varying degree of, I guess, thought. Like some of it is one line. And if I look back, I might be like, what was I getting at? I have no idea.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, absolutely.
And then some of them are like almost like a full PRD. So
okay.
I guess I'm curious about like how we decide on what to do next.
Well, I think I already told you how we decide.
Which part?
I did it off stream though. I said you decide. That's
okay.
I said you do it. And I felt, the reason I said that was I felt like I had kind of brought an idea, and I didn't come up with the idea, but I brought an idea. And so I feel like through this process, additionally, what I got was this like sense of, oh, an idea I brought, we have brought to some level of completion. And I would love for you to have that feeling.
Okay, cool. I will ask for your help in reining the idea in.
You don't have to ask.
You're already thinking about it.
I won't build it. I just won't build all the things. What are you going to do then? Use AI?
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple ideas that I'm toying with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about it a little bit off the stream.
So I'm going to add some pressure here. We have 5 minutes before you go. Can you settle on an idea in 5 minutes? You don't have to. I'm just throwing that out as a challenge.
Do you have a preference in terms of anything I shared with you?
No, I feel like you should solely pick it on your own.
I guess why I care about your opinion is because
Okay,
you're
okay.
gonna have to work on it with me.
I don't think that matters.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you should consider that in this particular case,
Okay.
because I think I already said, hey, whatever you choose, I'll build it, or I'll build some version of it. Relax, everybody, calm down. Some version, some MVP version of it,
Okay. Okay.
and we don't have to commit to it fully either, because I think with this idea, we did have the advantage of having a physical representation of it. We had these slides, we had a lot more content, all those questions we had. I think we should even lower the stakes, where we can begin something, because I feel like we'll also be discovering it as we're building it a bit stronger than this one. So we had some of that here. Obviously, we had all these features that we never thought about, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it'll actually be stronger with this because we don't have a kind of a a used version of it.
Yeah, like we're not
And
just
so
replicating a
exactly
process that already works.
Yeah. So in a sense, we got lucky with the project we chose because it helped guide us. With a one that doesn't have that, it may or may not be more challenging. We don't know yet. So I want to kind of have a safety net for us to say, hey, it's fine for us to back out of the idea if we're not feeling it. It's fine for us to alter it radically. It's fine for us to do whatever we want and not feel pressured into saying, oh, like we're on the playground and we're running around and we don't always have to have the ball, right? It's fine. Like let's go there. Let's see what it feels like. Let's look at the weather and be like, oh, it's raining. Maybe we shouldn't play today.
Okay. Raining just made me think of the sound effects.
That's raining. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think the idea that is top of mind for me is I call it echoes. I don't know if it's a good name, but we'll see. But one, I think MVP piece of it is this idea of like being able to like write a message anonymously and send it out into the world. This is very much inspired by the 2000s internet era, the good old days of when internet felt more magical somehow. Yeah, and the idea is that like you will send something out there and a random person in the world can receive it, respond to it, or be like, I don't want to respond to it, toss it back. So it's kind of inspired by like that visual concept of a message in a bottle. Honestly, I think this exists already as well.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Okay, yeah, we'll build a worse version. Don't worry about it. We'll build something that's that's not as good as the ones that already. See, like I'm already lowering the kind of the pressure standards. It's like it's fine. We'll build it because we want to build it.
Yeah, cool. All
right. Okay, so what are our next steps then? Because we still have follow-up work to do with Honeypot, which is we need to test it with people. We need to get feedback, and ideally, like I think one of the kind of like success metrics, if you will, for me was, oh, I just want one teacher to run it in one classroom setting, right? And I think then it's like, oh wow, and maybe at that point we'll be like, okay, fine, I don't want to work on it anymore, and that's totally fine too. Or maybe it'll be this thing where it takes a life of its own. Maybe it's like it's outside of Product Like Friday, and if it gets wheels or wings, then it has its own wings and it goes in its own direction. So I think I would like to still bring that back to Product Like Friday in terms of just the follow through, some testing with friends if we still have any friends, and then with a real classroom situation.
Yeah. Do you know teachers?
I know I have I can accomplish access to teachers. Yes. Okay. Because if folks at work have reached out as well to say, oh, I have teachers in my family. If you like you want to, and so I was like, yes, let's put that in the back pocket. My sister's teacher.
This is why we need a wait list.
But I feel like I'm ready to demo in a much more broader sense, even to that friend who has teachers, and they're able to then take it from there and be like, oh yeah, we have something that's actually demoable. So I think we still have some work in terms of deploying this
Yes.
to a shareable space. We have some work in terms of testing it and then getting it deployed in a classroom. So, but in the meanwhile, I'm also happy to start discussions on echoes and see what we hear back.
Cool. All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's it for this session of Product Like It's Friday. Thank you for following the journey, because I feel like we're pretty much complete. I feel like in terms of product, I feel like we delivered a taste of the product that feels very very usable. So thank you for joining on this journey. We're not done yet. There's more to come, and there's potentially more new product ideas to come. Another thing I would love for us to do is do a little bit more talking, where we invite certain people and we get their thoughts, or we argue with them, or we agree with them on product and product building. But with that, let's go home, everyone. All right, let's do it. Oh yeah. Okay, get out of here. Good night. Now I have to click the thing.